What is the next sentence?
He worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
Okay. Do you remember that we talked about that word spell? We've actually talked about it in several books or in several different chapters. I don't remember where or when. But do you remember what that
A
means here?
spell amount of my time
It is. It is. Have you seen that before?
with you, yes.
With me, yes, but not anywhere else. It's
No, no, not anywhere else.
yeah, but it's something that you could use. I don't know how common it is. I guess it's pretty common. I don't know if I've ever used it, but it wouldn't sound weird if somebody said it to me. It just means a period of time. Okay. So we have he can you say the first four words, just the first four words of that sentence? How would you say them?
He worked as a
O- uh,
as a
Okay. Now, the first thing, that word worked, that's a pretty hard word for people to say because there are many consonants coming up against each other, many hard consonants coming up against each other. Kt, kt, he worked, worked. Can you say that word
he
to me?
worked
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
worked.
For some reason, I would think somebody who speaks Arabic would not have a problem with that because Arabic doesn't really like vowel sounds too much, right? They like to put a lot of consonants together. So maybe is it? Do you find that easy to say? Worked.
Yes,
Yeah,
work.
that's
Work.
worked. But you've got to say that t at the end. There's this very strong t at the end.
Work.
Worked. T, t. That's how
Work.
that's how we know it's in the past because of that really ugly sound at the end. T. It's like spitting. Worked.
Work.
Okay, but here you have help because the word as starts with a vowel sound. So as a will sound like this. Teza, teza, teza.
Work. Teza.
Yeah, teza. Can you say teza?
Teza.
Use a ta in the front. Teza.
Teza.
Teza. Teza.
Teza. Teza. Teza.
Teza. This time you do have to say z.
Teza.
Z. Z. This is a z.
The.
This is an S. Can you say sa? Sa like an S?
Sa.
Sa. But now instead of this, so sa, that's where you push the air out. But if you say za, you're pushing the air down your throat instead. So it's the same sound, but instead of the air going out, it goes down. Can you say za?
The.
Yeah, that's right. Za. Can you say taza?
Teza.
Mm-hmm. Worked as a.
Worked as a.
He worked as a.
He worked as a.
Okay. And do you hear any big sounds? Any big vowel sounds in there? Any long vowel sounds?
Work.
Worked. Okay. So were. We'll put were here. We'll make that big. All right. So we have small, big, small. He worked as a. He worked as a.
He worked as a.
Okay. Pachu, can you say that phrase? He worked as a.
He worked as a
He worked as a.
he worked as a
Okay. How would you, Pachu, how would you say the next three words?
exam farmer for farmer for a
Okay. Farmer for a. Farmer for a. What is the big sound in that phrase? Farmer for a.
as a far
Far. Far. Okay. All right. So we're building our big small rhythm. We have he worked as a farmer for a.
he worked as a farmer for a
Okay. All right. Muhammad, can you say that? He worked as a farmer for a.
He worked at a farmer for he worked as a farmer for
He worked as a farmer for a. What is the next word?
a spell.
Okay. All right. Do you think that's a? Do you think that would sound big or small in our phrase?
Spell, spell. I see it as a small.
Okay. It is. It is. It is. Eh. It's a small sound, but is it a big word or is it an important word in our idea?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll make it big just because it's an
Okay.
important word. All right. So normally you're right. I mean, really, if you just say the word spell, that's a small sound. But because it's an important word, we'll make it big. He worked as a farmer for a spell.
He worked as a farmer for a spell.
That's good. Okay, that's the rhythm because we want that rhythm, the big, small rhythm, and we want to emphasize the words that are important in our idea. Pachu, can you say that phrase? He worked as a farmer for a spell.
He worked as a farmer for a spell
Okay. Now, Pachu, can you say the next four words?
before moving to the city.
Okay, just the next four words.
Before moving to the
Okay. In that phrase, before moving to the, what do you think is the big word in that phrase?
as a moving
Okay. And which syllable has the big sound in moving?
is a move,
Okay.
move,
Move,
move, move,
move, move, move, move. When you say that sound, you give a kiss. Move. See my lips? I'm giving a kiss. Move.
move, move,
Yeah.
move.
Moving.
Yes.
Okay, so that's right. That's an important word, but also it helps us to keep our big, small pattern. He worked for a farmer as a, he worked as a far he worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the.
He worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the
Okay, Mohammed, can you say that?
He worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
Okay, and that word city, is that an important word?
Yes.
Okay, and it's got two syllables. Which syllable has the big sound in it?
First one, city.
Si, si,
Ci-
si.
City.
City. City.
City.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we have he worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
He worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
Okay. Muhammad, how many phrases do you think we could divide this sentence into?
Spell and before. Two.
Spell and before too? Okay. If we look at the first phrase, he worked as a farmer for a spell. What do you think could be the most important word in that phrase?
Spell.
Yeah. And now, do you want to sound friendly and nice when you say this phrase, or serious or educational?
Friendly.
Okay. So, because now, when you end a phrase, you should probably end it with a low sound, a low tone. But if you want to sound nicer, you have to give it a little bit of a high tone. So, the way that we'll have to say this word is we'll start high and then we'll go low. So, we'll say spell.
Spell.
You have I think you have trouble doing the high part. Spell,
Spell.
spell, spell.
Spell.
You hear the high and the
Spell.
spell. Okay.
Spell.
How should the phrase start? Should it start high or low?
Hi.
Yeah, because most phrases do start high and then they move down. Okay. So we can say, he worked as a farmer for a spell.
He worked as a farmer for a spell.
Okay. Pachu, can you say that phrase?
He worked as a farmer for a spell.
Okay. He worked as a farmer for a spell.
He worked as a farmer for a
Oh, for some reason you got cut off on the last word. That's the word I was listening for. And you disappeared. Are you there?
Okay.
Try again.
Yes. He worked as a farmer for a spell.
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 Yeah, so it's kind of the opposite because I know that your temptation is to say spell, but you have to do the opposite and say spell.
Spell.
He worked as a farmer
Spell.
for a spell.
He worked as a farmer for a spell.
Okay, that was good. That was really nice. Now, in the next phrase, Pachu, before moving to the city, what is the most important sound? What is the most important word in that phrase?
Is a city and moving.
Okay, well, I think let's make city our most important
Yeah.
word. Okay. Do you
Yes.
want to, when you say this, do you want to sound nice and friendly, or do you want to sound more serious and businesslike?
And the friendly.
Okay. So we have a situation because we have to end, we want to say it in a high tone to sound friendly, but we have to make it kind of low because it's the end of the phrase. So we'll have to divide this word into two tones, high and low. City,
Yes.
city, city,
City. City.
city, city,
City. City.
city.
City.
Okay.
City
And how should you start the phrase?
is a high tone.
Okay. Before moving to the city.
Before moving to the city, city,
He worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
he worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
Mohammed,
City.
can you say before moving to the city? Are you there, Mohammed?
Yes.
Okay. Can you try that? Can you try to say that the last phrase before moving to the city?
Before moving to the city.
Okay. Before moving to the city.
Before moving to the city.
He worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
He worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
Okay. Mohammed, can you make a where he work before moving to the city question? How would you make that question?
Where where did you work before moving to the city?
Okay. And what is your most important word in that question?
Where?
Where. Okay. So how does that sound? If that's a very important word, how does it sound in your question?
Long I
Okay.
say
Where.
where he worked
Okay. What is the question?
before
What is the question form of he worked?
you where did you work?
Okay, how does where and did and he, how do they sound together? Where is very important. Did he is not really that important, so it's very small.
Yes. Did he?
Where did he? Where did he?
Where did he work?
Okay, then work, but that's an important word, right? Work.
Yes.
Okay, where did he work?
Where did he work?
Where did he work
Before
before?
mo
Go ahead.
Where did you work for moving to the city?
Okay. Where did he work before moving to the city? Try again.
Where did you work for moving to the city?
Okay. Pachu, can you make the question? Where did he work?
Where did he work? Where did he work?
Do the whole question.
Okay. So, where did he work before moving to the city?
Okay. Where did he work before moving to the city? And what is the answer?
He worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
He worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
He worked as a farmer for a spell before moving to the city.
Muhammad, where did he work before moving to the city?
He worked as, he worked as a farmer for a spell for moving to the city.
Okay. All right. Let's do one more word tonight, okay? I guess this is a short
Okay.